first of all, before you say anything in the comment sections, because I know you're going to do that, all right? It's WrestleMania Sunday when we're recording this, and this is the only headband I had. You got to keep your hair out of your face on WrestleMania Sunday because you're jumping up and down.
Yeah.
You're screaming. That's my plan.
I mean, same.
Currently, this is right before WrestleMania, and who knows the results? Big things. I bet you we could predict the whole thing right now.
That's not what this video's for.
You sure we don't want to change the topic of today? Today, we're actually going to be talking about all the final girls in the Friday the 13th franchise, including both Freddy vs. Jason and the remake, which in itself is controversial, okay? So I imagine most people are going to disagree with our list because this could go any way, and you can make arguments for any of these final girls. Also, I looked at like 50 lists to see if we're on the right track, and so many people threw Tommy Jarvis in there. I get it. I get why he's
funny.
in there. Yeah, I mean, it's Tommy Jarvis being a final guy.
Right.
But if that's the case, then Steven and Jace Goes to Hell is a better final girl than most of these final girls are. I mean, he's probably like at least in the middle of this list.
Right. But
we're not doing that. We're talking about the final women. Maybe we'll talk about the final men in a future episode if you really want to see it so much. But yeah, also new format here. This is probably the first time this format's seen.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dead Meat for giving me this idea. All right, he didn't give me the idea for a podcast, but he gave me the idea for a format because we had to edit so much for our previous format. So I think this works.
Yeah, and we're running out of space, so the little space we have, this seems to work the best. Hopefully it does. Hopefully you like it.
If not, sorry. Now you're going to see us when we're off, like when we think we're off camera.
Picking our nose.
Yeah, and getting like drinking something or something like that. All the weird stuff. All right, but let's dive in. Let's start with our number 12th final girl. Our number 12 final girl, which is Whitney from the Friday the 13th remake. And the reason for that is because I don't think she should have been a final girl. She spends the entire movie hooked up, and it's cool that she's able to break out and then put on a fight with Jason and whatnot, and that's cool. But the whole time she's locked up, and it's really not the true final girl and the female protagonist you're following the whole movie. You're following Danielle Panabaker. And like that's who should have arguably been the final girl in the remake of Friday the 13th, but wasn't. So it takes away from Whitney tremendously, and she's not really a final girl. Like instead of being a final girl, she's just the last girl alive. Does that make sense? Like it's like there's a difference.
Yeah.
The final girl gets this real sense of heroism and saving others and being powerful, and really the only person she gets to bond with at all in the movie at the end is Jared Padalecki, and like that's all we really see.
Yeah.
So
You completely agree.
Yeah, it's weird. The same goes for our next at number 11, being Lori from Freddy vs. Jason. Not so much because she is a badass at the end, right? And she has more of a heroine type of vibe as she goes, welcome to my world, bitch, and just slays Freddy and things like you get to see that vibe.
Yeah,
but at the same time, she's annoying most of the film. Pretty bad.
Yeah, at the end she becomes the final girl trope that we all know, but throughout the movie you're just like, please die.
You have to have a sense of likability as a final girl, and like that's where Monica Kena's lacking. And like, it's not that she's not talented. I think Monica Kena's super talented, and there's some parts in this movie where she shines. But it's like Ronnie Yu had the wrong idea with her. There's a lot. How often are we just looking at her cleavage?
Yeah,
like it's not a final girl thing. It's not a final girl thing to do.
Right.
She had a little bit of spunk, but a lot of times she was just crying about her dreams, and she doesn't hit that final girl vibe until the end. But even when she does, it's annoying. Yeah. Like I said, that whole like welcome to my world, bitch. Like it's cringy. It's pretty cringy watching her do that.
Yeah.
Like I get it.
She did the best with what she had.
Yeah. You can only do so much when you got a arguably pretty poor script and there's not good direction in terms of the plot you're trying to drive, but whatever. Now, our next on our list at number 10, this is one people probably are going to disagree with, and I get why because of the movie that she's in. But Chris in Friday the 13th Part 3, I think is just lacking in a lot of ways. She's constantly checking her surroundings and is in a state of vulnerability. Yeah. Which, because of that, it takes kind of away from that final girl powerhouse. She puts on a hell of a fight with Richard Brooker at the end. I agree with that. Right. And she holds her own. But even at the end, she's not standing on top a hero. She's standing on top broken. Yeah, she's nuts. In her own way, defeated. Mm-hmm. And like that's not the final girl we see. Like let's look at a movie like The Final Girls, where the whole trope of that once you are the final girl, you become a badass, and once you slay the killer, you're on top and you're just a champ. And like that's lost with Chris.
Yeah, if you love F-13, you're gonna love The Final Girls. It's it's a feel good summer movie.
That movie's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you like Friday the 13th, you definitely like The Final Girls.
Yes.
But I think that's kind of like, Chris is great. I love Chris. It's just not you can't really rank her too high in a Final Girl argument.
Right, exactly. Like you said, you're supposed to come up and stay and end on top, and really she just kind of, she's nuts.
Yeah. And like that kind of goes for our next pick as well. Rennie, not being nuts, not so much like that and being defeated and broken, but just so innocent. You know, like I think Rennie's a sweetheart, and she's not one of those like super hot final girls, but she's really, really smart.
Yeah.
And a beautiful woman, but she's at the same time she's another one that's broken by her past.
Yeah.
And like she never really had. I don't think really anywhere in Part 8 it's her being a tough final girl and fighting Jason.
No, she always had help.
Yeah, and she's just kind of observing it and seeing it happen and then screaming at it.
Right. I like Rennie a lot. I like, Jason Takes Manhattan. I like Rennie in it a lot. But yeah, she's not the final girl we know and love.
Yeah, yeah. I also like Part 8. A lot of people don't, and I could totally see why. It's really not a very well-made film,
right,
because of a lack of a budget. Even though I think it has the largest budget out of the Friday the 13th films, at least up to that point. But it didn't make shit for money.
Right.
But yeah, like it's limited in terms of that. But yeah, Rennie just kind of lost the final girl vibe. It's another one of those final boy movies. It's like the final dude. It did more work, you know.
For sure.
All right, next on our list is Jessica from Jason Goes to Hell. Why? Again, Steven is the final guy. He's your real hero,
right,
which that he takes the show in terms of that. Jessica, the reason she's so high on this list is because she ends up being a badass at the end and goes off with Duke to get that blade, and she takes out Jason to save Steven at the end.
Yeah.
That's the only time she shines the final girl, like pretty much the whole film. Otherwise, she's just irrelevant. We follow Steven. Steven is the main protagonist of Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah.
But just because she does do that badass moment where she goes off on her own with Duke and gets that blade and comes back to be a hero at the last second,
yeah,
I think she could be up that high on the list. It's fine.
Yeah.
Now, one that I think, again, that most people are going to disagree with, mainly because they don't like the movie, which is a shame. Because I like it.
Yeah.
I think you should like it. Give it a second chance. It's kind of like the Halloween 3 of Friday the 13th, that being Friday the 13th Part 5. Pam, like Melanie Kinnaman, I think she's great.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. She's the leader of the camp. She's the leader at, why am I saying Packanack? Pinehurst. She's like the leader. She's one of the lead psychiatrists at Pinehurst. And she's leading these group of people and helping people out, and you respect her for that already. And then she goes out of her way. She makes sure she helps Reggie, and she's saving Reggie and being there by his side, going at Roy with the chainsaw and helping Tommy when he needs it, when he gets stabbed. Like just constantly doing heroine things. And I think she deserves to be higher on lists than people are giving her credit for.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, she's fighting a regular man, but so was Chris, and so was Trish, and so was Ginny.
Yeah.
Like that was a man. He was not undead at that point.
Right.
I think Pam needs more credit.
Yeah.
People keep shitting on Pam, and I don't like it.
Right. A New Beginning. I mean, the first time you saw it, you didn't know it wasn't Jason.
Yeah, so, dude, you literally cut out the last 2 seconds of the fucking film where you see because he falls in the blades, and then it reveals that it's not him, and then it's like, oh, it was Roy, his son did. Yeah, like you literally cut that out, and
it's the same thing.
It's
a Friday the 13th movie.
Same thing you liked before.
Right.
Like I get it, it's not Jason, but it very much was, and in fact, he shows more power than a lot of Jasons do in other Friday the 13th films.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying. All right, next on the list, another one that is debatable, but I feel like it's hard to not put her up higher, is Tina from Friday the 13th Part 7. Well, the reason we put her, because I get it that she is broken by her past, and we've already talked about women being distracted so far, these final girls being distracted by their past, and it's kind of just holding them back from being a hero. But when she does transform, first of all, she's dealing with a dickhead psychiatrist who she ends up overcoming and showing her ability and standing up to.
Yes.
All due respect her for that. She is dealing with all these dickheads at the other house, like your Megan. Melissa. Thank you.
Melissa.
Sorry, I had Megan in my head from Part 6. But Melissa, you have that mentality. Like she's fighting a lot more than just Jason. So like you can respect her more than, but she still has the ability to overcome. And then she starts using her powers, and she uses them well. Then it's Carrie versus Jason, and that's cool.
Yeah, yeah. Her and our next on the list could really be swapped. Like they're right neck and neck.
Yeah, which is our next list. Next on the list, Megan Garris from Part 6. You can't not like Megan.
Right.
First of all, Megan's one of the best looking final girls. Not part of the points, but just saying. She is, again, a little held back because of Tommy. Because Tommy is your quote unquote final girl. I mean,
right.
It's Tommy fucking Jarvis. But like, you know, Megan has her own role there. And she's there. She saves Tommy. She goes in the water, takes out Jason in a pretty heroic way, carries Tommy out of the water, and then saves his life. Yeah, and then the whole movie, she's showing she has some real spunk, man. She's got some swagger to her, and I like that about her.
Yeah, you know right away. You're like, I hope she lives. Like that's what you want. You want the likability to survive and be the final girl, and she is.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. The first time we really see her, she is kind of like I don't know if they meant to do this, but she kind of comes off as your trope slutty girl because of the way she hits on Tommy. But like, there's so much more to her than that, especially as you see her work with the kids.
Yes.
And like, I think that adds a lot to her, which is why we have her so high on the list.
Yeah.
Next on the list, another one that you might have at number 1, but it's Alice from Friday the 13th. And the reason we didn't put her in the top 3 was simply because she's like just too dumb. The character's just too dumb.
Right, and that comes with just the writing and the non-development of the series. It was the first final girl in the series.
Yeah, it's just a cheap horror film, you know? Like,
right.
That's all it was when it started out. And just Alice, like, again, just not really aware of her surroundings and like what's going, just kind of there. And she does come on top, and she does have this really cool, you know, decapitation of Pamela, and we can all respect that, and it's iconic. But like up to that point, just a pretty boringish character, weaker character. I don't really know how you want to explain it, because like really, if you look back at the original Friday the 13th, I know it's iconic now, but really not that great of a film.
Right. I mean, it was just made to make a quick buck off the success of Halloween.
Pretty much. That's all it really is. And you know, I feel like I'm okay to say that. All right, like you can't tell me I'm not a Friday the 13th fan. Like I've spent my life doing this. Like this is what I love. But like I can openly admit when a movie that I like a lot is bad.
We love so many bad movies.
Like truly disastrous movies. Like one of our favorite movies to watch is I Still Know You Did Last Summer. Yeah. That's always our go-to for explaining that mental mindset that we have, because that movie's garbage. Like we know it's garbage.
But we have the most fun. We have the most fun just watching it, picking it apart.
Yeah.
It's just hilariously bad. And we can, like we said, we can like something but still know it's bad.
Yeah, like that's okay. And Friday the 13th, I think, is one of those things. It's not all that great of a film. It's not any blockbuster. It's just a fun ride, and it's why it was so successful with teens back in 1980. Yeah. That's my excuse for Alice being ranked lower, I guess. She's just a weaker character.
I mean, she's still top 4.
Yeah, but she couldn't be top 3 because she just wasn't smart enough. Now, this one might be the most controversial on the list because, again, it's a movie you hate, but Rowan from Jason X deserves some fucking respect, all right?
Yes.
And one of the reasons she's such a good final girl is simply because she knows Jason so well before the film even starts. Very experienced in that field and wanting to freeze him and hold him down. So when she does have to go face to face with him, she's very prepared and she's willing to take him on.
Right, and the other people are saying like, "Oh yeah, we want to keep him alive. We want to study him." And she's like, "No, kill him. We need to kill him. I will do it myself."
Her being smart adds so much to her. Like, what are you doing? He's an unstoppable killing machine. Let's fucking freeze him, and we'll figure it out later. Yeah. Like, let's not get everyone killed, and then everyone gets killed. Yeah. Like, if you just listen to Rowan the whole time. I think Rowan's a good final girl, and the only time where you're like, it feels like she's maybe weaker is when all the soldiers are out there fighting and looking for him, and she just kind of has to stay back. Again, what do you do? What is she going to go out there to? I just feel like if someone would have listened to her more, she would have been more powerful. Like, if the professor would have listened to Rowan more.
Yeah, and just finally been like, okay, I understand now. Let's do this instead. Like,
like, what do we do to stop him and things like that?
That would have been a crowning. Maybe that would have put her up to number 1.
Yeah, man, we'll never know. All right, number 2 on our list. Now I think we can agree. I think we can all be on a mutual page, like, side here that these are probably your top 2 most of the time, or at least top 3. They make your top 3.
Yeah.
Trish Jarvis from Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter. I mean, she's a hero to her brother.
Yep.
And like this is before Tommy truly becomes the final guy.
Tommy becomes what he is.
Yeah, before he evolves
of his sister.
It's funny, like in Pokemon, there's like 3 sets.
Yeah.
Like as you evolve into a better Pokemon, you know, like that's what Tommy did, man. He evolved into John Shepard, then he evolved into Tom Matthews.
But it all started. With his sister, Trish.
Yeah,
helping him out.
Exactly. He does go like Trish. The whole time she has one goal and one goal only, really, and it's to protect Tommy.
Yep.
And that by itself, and you know, she does freak out a little bit when the mask comes off and things like that. We see vulnerable moments, but none that stop her from her ultimate goal of helping Tommy.
Right.
Like she never runs away, even with the deleted scene where we see that her mom dies.
Yeah.
That arguably would have added more to it because then she has to overcome the death of her mother,
right,
and still protect Tommy
and still be a badass and not be a little more reserved like your Tina's, like your Rennie's.
Yeah, Rennie is a perfect example.
Right.
Like, yeah, like Rennie. If that would happen to Rennie, I don't know what would happen there.
Right.
Yeah, Trish is just a strong character protecting her brother.
Yeah.
Which is, but again, like she would have like overcome like the whole death of the mother thing. Could have been number 1.
Yeah.
But our number 1. It's Ginny from Friday the 13th Part 2. Whole time, smart. One of the smarter counselors, leading counselors.
Yes.
And she never steps down. And she was smart enough to put on the fucking sweater. And she's the first person to like try to understand Jason. The next time we see that is with Tommy doing it and shaving his head. But like she got it, and she was smart and makes quick moves. And then Amy Steele did fantastic too.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a reason most people like the second one more than the first one, and a lot of it comes down to Ginny.
Right, and it's just a huge step from the first installment, Friday the 13th, and Alice to Ginny and her character development as the strong final girl. Really, I mean, that sort of truly established the trope. It made the final girl into a trope.
Yeah, and the sense of Ginny being in a relationship too, I think, helps out tremendously. And the dog, no, but like it's like as long as this person's by my side, I'm fine, and like that continues to push out the whole movie. She never feels weak.
Yeah,
even at the most vulnerable positions, she never feels weak, and that's why Ginny's our number 1. Who'd have thought? Who would have thought? Let us know if you agree or disagree. I'm sure most people listening are tremendously different. You're ranking 12 different people here,
right? And
a lot of it can come down to, do you like the movie? Do you not? Do you hate the actress? There's a lot of things that play into that.
Right.
We try to be objective.
It's just a fun conversation. I mean,
nothing more.
This isn't fact. This isn't a fight.
Don't make it a goddamn fight. I'm so sick of fighting over dumb shit like that.
Fun.
We're having fun. We just talk about some final girls.
Just let us know.
Bring out my Boston accent for it.
Like, let us know what you feel is different and why, and we can respectfully hear your discussion.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people could literally convince me to switch the list around, but just sitting and talking about it now, this is kind of how I see it.
Yeah,
yeah. But that's today's video. If you enjoyed, as always, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to our channel for more visits. And of course, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. And we'll see you next time.